Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Today we will talk about something interesting. We will talk about circumstances. The circumstances is an important aspect where you deal with situational processing of the rules. Instead of having different scenarios and having to create multiple rules and all for it, what we do is we circumstance the rule that we will let the system pick the one in the given context. If you remember, we were talking about rule resolution. It has a lot of steps where one of the important factors is circumstances. It will check whether there's any circumstances template for that rule, and then that is also given an important weightage. Circumstances is all about bringing in exceptional scenarios or bringing in some special scenarios for specific business conditions. Instead of creating more and more rules, more and more conditions, and all what we do is circumstance, the rule. According to the business scenario that you give, the circumstance rule would be picked. You might have observed this. For example, when you open your office portal, you will have your office portals. If you open it during your birthday month, you will have a celebration theme. Whereas for rest of the months, you will see a normal theme is displayed in the background. This happens for every employee that works in your organization. Now, when I start developing this as part of Pega, could I create one rule for each one of you? Instead, what we do is circumstance, the rule according to the birth dates. The circumstances lets us handle different business scenarios in one single group. Generally, what rules are circumstances? Generally, all the business rules would be circumstances. First preference is always for your business rules like correspondences, SLAs, then the UI related ones, probably you can say sections. Along with that, we can circumstance a lot of other technical rules also. Too much technical stuff, yes. Your flows, flow actions. All those can also be circumstances. But most frequently what we circumstance is your SLs, then your correspondence rules. We can talk about, what do we say, sections. The ones that are displayed in the UI through paragraphs or sections that we create. When it comes to circumstances, I have 4 different options in which I can start circumstances my rules based on single value, based on multiple value, based on date, and based on as of date. Here the purpose is according to the inputs that I give or according to the case specific inputs, the appropriate rule would be picked. I cannot keep on creating a rule for each of my special conditions. Instead, via circumstances, the same rule according to the different business scenarios that are coming. I think we will go ahead directly. We will do this rather than not discussing much. We will look at the circumstances directly on the application. But before that, let's see what do I have on my case type. First, we will circumstance it with a single property where you define a property and you define a value for it. And if that value matches with the particular case instance, then the circumstance rule would be picked. Otherwise, your base rule is picked. What do I have on my transaction currently? Here I'm having some city first name and last name. Here I have first name. Let's do one thing I would like to do. And then one more step for collect information. I would like to name it collect customer. Now my agenda is let us circumstance a section rule. I'm going to circumstance a section rule based upon a single property. Let's take this personal info as the section. This personal info section is what we are going to circumstance and on what basis on property. Let's take a customer type according to the customer. I would like to show you. If the customer, I would like to show a lot more user UI. If it is a standard customer, I would show him a regular UI. Let me just define a field for customer type. I'll let it be a text. Yes, here is the personal info. Now, how would I circumstance this? For any rule, if you see this option specialized by circumstance, which means it is enabled for circumstance. If at all for any rule you see, this is enabled for circumstance. Let me visualize my circumstance. And I think we could just remove all of this, the student list and all that was created. Now let me just remove this. I don't want my form to look too long. I'm just going to delete this. I mean, this has got nothing to do with the circumstances or something. Just to make my form a little simpler, I will remove this. Now we'll go ahead specialize by circumstance. Now, on what basis are you circumstancing here? Circumstance by I'm using a property. Let's see. I'm going to select property and date, where you can either choose a date or a property. What is my property? It's going to be customer type. If the customer type is premium, I would like to show this particular section, Get Personal Info. And you see, I did not change the name, and of course it is not editable. If you save as it, it's like you're creating a new instance. It's like you are creating a fresh rule again. I don't want that. Same rule should be there, same name, just the time circumstances. Here, I would like to add in some labels here that I would note that this is part of premium customer. I will let it be something like this. Welcome, you are a premium customer. For us to know that this is part of the circumstance rule. You see the rule status, it is available and it is circumstances. And you see what is its circumstances by a property. If the property called customer type is premium, then this particular rule would be picked. Let us add in one more circumstance. Again, I cannot change this. Let this be property. I would choose customer type again. This time it is going to be a standard customer. Let's add in a label again. I've circumstances get personal info into two types. Both are based on property. One is for standard, one is for premium. Now, according to the particular instance, according to the case that you create, if the customer is a standard customer, I will show this screen. If he is a regular customer, a premium customer, I will show this. If he is none of them, if no selection is made or no value is there for customer type, then it goes to the base rule. Or if the customer could be of any other type, he could be a regular customer probably. For that again, the normal base rule would be picked. Let's see how this works. and who makes sure that the rule is picked here in this context. The rule resolution algorithm takes care and it makes sure that the rule instance is picked. Looking at the versions and all of it, because we have got different versions also. Let's get the customer type. Let's give premium. What do I see? The section that is part of the circumstance based upon the property for premium is displayed. What if I wouldn't give anything, or I'll give some other value for it? Instead of this, I'll give. Maybe I'm a platinum customer. What do I see for platinum customer? Do I have any circumstance rule specific to this? The system has to pick the base rule. The base rule of get personal info without any labels and all has been displayed. Based upon properties is like you can say one of the easiest ways of circumstances is based upon a single property that we have done now. Now let's do it based upon multiple properties. It's not just single property this time. I have multiple properties. Then how do I deal with this circumstance? For that I think we have any SLAs. I don't think we have any SLAs. Let me do one thing. We will configure an SLA and we will try to circumstance this SLA based upon two entities. We will see what it is. But let us add in some SLAs, your timelines. In order to complete a task in a given period of time. They are more like bold deadlines, where you set some boundaries and within that milestones the task has to be completed. Let's do one thing. This is related to recruitment and interview. Let's take this written test for this. We will use our SLA. Ideally, how much does it show? Let me give it to like 10 days for this and 20 days for this. The ideal time for getting your written test done is 10 days is the goal time. 20 days is the deadline. This is the ideal behavior. Now, as this is something related to recruitment, I would like to have two things. One is the location and the number of days to join. These two things are important for me. What are those? The joining location and the number of days to join. According to these two, I will circumstance my SLAs. According to the number of days to join. This comes from the business. The business gives me that in a Bangalore location within 15 days, I want a candidate to be hired. Or in Delhi location within the next 2 months, I want a candidate to be hired. That comes from the business. Now, according to that, I will have to circumstance my written test. Let's see. Do I have those details already? Let me first configure my properties because this time my circumstances is based on two properties. This is the joining location and let it be a text, and the other one is number of days to join. This time I have two things to look after. Earlier it was just a customer type, but now I have two things. If I just save and run this, do I see the golden deadline for the contest? I think I'll jump directly. I'll change stage. I'll jump directly to the interview. I'm just avoiding all my other interviews. Yes, 10 days is the goal time. 20 days is the deadline. Without any criteria, without any circumstances. This is how it looks. Now let's go ahead and circumstance the SLA. But circumstances based upon multiple properties is called a template-based circumstance. When it is just one property, I call it property-based circumstance. If it's two or more, I call it template-based circumstance. Here is my sale at 10 days and 20 days good. Save as specialized by circumstance. But we have few prerequisites here before going into this. I chose a template, but what does it show? You need to have a template and you need to have a definition. Two things are required. These two are my prerequisites. I need to create a circumstance template and I need to create a circumstance definition here. What are those? See, let's create one. I'll just use the create method. Your circumstance template and circumstance definition are under the technical category. Let's create the template. Template is nothing but you decide what all properties are you looking at for this customization or for this circumstance. This is for SLA for written test SLA template. This is for an SLA and for an assignment called written test. And should I apply this? Yes, this is the class that I would want. Name of HR's work dash script. What do you define on? The template is just the properties. What all properties are you considering? This joining location. And notice label for us and number of days. Let me save it. Template is just going to have the properties. The next step is to create the definition as an on what basis or when and exactly do you like the circumstance rule to be picked. Here you just mention the properties, but on the definition, you are going to mention the actual conditions. Circumstance, and there's a mapping between these two as well. There's an association. It is asking Which template are you associating this definition to? What is it? Return yes, it is a written test template. I think I'll use the same kind of naming convention. Name, I say that definition. And yes, and footprint. Now, what should I do on the definition? Is this similar to your decision table? All the things you mention on the template will turn out to be columns, whereas your conditions will be turned out as rows. We can define your rows. For example, if my joining location is Delhi and I want a candidate to join within 30 days, and I can add in multiple conditions. Or if I want him to join within 40 days. You can add in n number of conditions, and when any of these conditions is met, your circumstance rule would be picked. Let me go back. Where is my SLA this time? Do I have a template? Written test. Sometimes if it doesn't populate, you can just copy. And for the definition, I think at least the definition should be populated. Because we have associated this definition with this template. You see? And for one template, you can have n number of definitions. The conditions could differ. You can have n number of definitions. Let us change this. I cannot give 10 days here. Maybe I'll give, oh sorry, this is urgency rate, my bad. Let me just refresh this. I cannot give 10 days anymore. I might give 3 days for this and 5 days. Now, this is part of my circumstance rule, which is circumstance based upon. What is it based upon? The template. What template is used? Go TSLA template and what definition is used is this. I can create more definitions for different conditions and I can customize the SLA file. But first let's see if this is working or not. These are safe. This is just similar to your decision table, but just that this cannot be delegated. I don't think this can be delegated. You cannot delegate this. Otherwise, rest of the functionalities are all the same. Now, if my condition is any of these, if my case instance satisfies any of these conditions, I'll get the new SLS, which is 3 days and 5 days. Otherwise, I'll get 10 days and 20 days. Let's see. What would we give is, I think we'll try the second one, Bangalore and 45. And yes, what is it that I see? "3 days and 5 days." Does it mean the new circumstances? SLA is picked. And what if I would give something else other than stay on the template? I give something else. Joining location is Hyderabad. What would I expect this time? I'll directly go to the interview. What would I see is, yes, it took the base. It will check the rows of your definition one by one. And once it is satisfied, it will no longer be in that the control returns back and your circumstance rule would be picked. And that is all. There ends this part of template and definition. I can create more and more definitions for the same template, and I can have it for different SLAs. And that's why you always see an association between the definition and the template. You see, it is with respect to this template. We can add in more and more properties also, depending upon your business scenario. We just took two for now, joining location and base. There can be more of them. That's about the circumstances based on the template where you have multiple properties. You can also call the properties. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.